Look at some of the different tokens that are just popping off on Optimism. You can see you got Synthetics, you got Perpetual Protocol, you got Stargate, Pull Together, you got Beats, you got Lyra, you got Qidao, you got Taro. A lot of these different tokens seem to be popping off. And who is the main cause of this? Well, today's video is actually going to be going over Velodrome. If you look at all the different EVM chains overall and all the other layer 2s, you can see Optimism is stinking up 83% in over 1 month. What the snap? That's nuts. So the TLDR on Velodrome is it's similar to Solidly, but with a bunch of different fixes. And we're going to need some oatmeal for this to get into this. Some water. It's good stuff. All right, so let's go and get into Velodrome and show you guys what's up. So to understand Velodrome, let's go and take a look at the different pools that they have. As you can see here, they are paying all kinds of different APRs, and we're just going to sort them out from the highest to the least because we're all degens and we like the highest APR. As you can see here, some of the highest pools are the SNX, Optimism, Frax, and this is due in part with voting and bribes. I'll get into that later in this video, but I just want to give you guys a layout of the Velodrome platform so you guys can understand what's up with this. The sauce in Velodrome has to do with the VE model. They actually take a little bit of a different approach. Instead of the swap rewards going to the LP providers, these actually go to the token lockers. So as you can see here under the voting incentives, you get a share of transaction fees, bribes, and emission rewards. So you get a mix of all these for staking your Velo token. This is important for a protocol like this because there is a high emission rate. And if you are incentivizing people to take their tokens and lock it up from a range of 1 to 4 years, actually you can lock as low as 1 week. This actually takes more tokens off of the market. And when you take more tokens off the market, there's less supply out there. And when there's demand for the token, because they can buy them, lock them up, stake, vote on the different pools that they want, this feeds that supply and demand flywheel. I'll go ahead and show you guys later in the docs as well, but the TLDR, what's going on with the sauce of this, is that LP providers are incentivized to provide liquidity on Velodrome. As you can see here, there are some pretty high APRs, and you can see 16% for some stable coins. You can see here basically 20% on ETH with almost zero to little impermanent loss. This is using the Synthetics derivative of Ethereum. And then you have others that are high, like 100% for Optimism and USDC, which is much higher than Uniswap currently. So there's different APRs involved in each of these pools, and this is incentivizing people to provide liquidity. Now, as more people provide liquidity, this also creates better pricing, which attracts more traders, which then brings more swap fees. Now, this is where the swap fees go. If you guys remember, under the vote section, this is for the people who lock their Velo tokens. As you can see here, you can vest them, you create a lock. You can say, hey, I want to do 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 4 years, whatever you lock. Once you lock your tokens, you are now able to vote. Depending on the pool that you vote for, let's say, for example, you're like, bruh, I'm providing liquidity on Optimism and USDC. I'm going to go ahead and get some of those rewards, so I'm going to vote there. You actually get a share of the swap fees, and you get some of these bribes here. So you get the bribes, you get swap fees, and you also get the incentives on staking. As you can see here, transaction fees, bribes, and emission rewards. So you get a mix of different fees, which goes to take tokens off of the market. So you have a mix of the inflating supply from the different APRs, and then you have a mix of the inflating demand, if that is such a term. There is more demand coming from this because more people want more rewards. Now, just like Curve rewards its liquidity providers in its CRV token, Velodrome does not give the swap fee. Those actually go to the stakers that vote on the different pools. So instead, LP providers are only getting the Velo rewards. These Velo rewards that the LP providers get, if they want to go and get some of their liquidity incentives, as in the swap fees from the different transactions, they're incentivized to take their Velo rewards that they just got, lock them, and stake them and vote on the pool that they're in. Now, why would they do this? Well, one, they would get the bribe rewards. 2, they would still have their Velo rewards from providing liquidity. 3, they would now get the liquidity incentives. And 4, they would get additional emissions from the Velo token just for staking. So there are synergies involved in this. And the best way to understand Velodrome is it's solidly without the things like solid sex or weave or all these different convex derivatives mucking up the VE token NFT models. I want to give you guys a quick TLDR on Curve if you guys don't understand the VE token model. Basically, how Curve works is they say, hey, look, we have this pool over here that's USDC, ETH, and Bitcoin, whatever pool it is, or it could be the Tri-Curve pool, which is Tether, DAI, and USDC. It's all in one pool. And Curve is basically saying, hey, look, anyone who provides liquidity here will pay you a certain percentage of the Curve tokens, and you will still get the swap fees. So the VE model comes into play to where anyone who is in the Curve protocol can vote on any of these different pools. So the 3 Curve pool is actually one of the pools on the Curve protocol. There are many other pools, and the bribes and votes come into play where the people staking their Curve tokens can say, I'm going to vote for the 3 Curve pool, or I'm going to vote for the Wrap Bitcoin pool, or I'm going to vote for the ST ETH and ETH pool. It doesn't matter. There are different pools, but the point I'm trying to put across is that the people staking their Curve tokens can choose to vote on any of these different pools. And when they vote on a pool, it says, okay, there are X amount of votes. It could be 20%. And let's say there are $1 million in Curve tokens that are going to be emitted that week. Well, that pool would get 20% of those emissions that week. So that would translate into $200,000 going to that specific pool. Now you can see how these different protocols are like, whoa, if I pay the Curve stakers to vote on my pool, it could be a more cost-effective method in order to get liquidity for my token without having to emit my token. It would be cheaper because in order for me to get liquidity for my token, I either say, hey, LP with this token, deposit into the pool, and I pay you, or I can pay someone like Curve and say, hey, Curve. Or I can go ahead and bribe the Curve stakers and say, hey, vote on my pool and I will pay you to do it. And of course, they're like, well, I'm already staking, so I might as well vote for your pool because you're going to pay me some money. Yeah, in theory, they would dump the token. But again, what do most yield farmers do when they farm a token? You guys have seen a lot of yield farming charts. They look like this. So Velodrome kind of gives us a clean UI for how the VE model works. As you can see here, you have the Velo voters. These are the people who are staking their Velo. They are basically getting the fees from traders. They're getting bribes from protocols because remember, the protocol is like, I need liquidity now. And they're like, hey, put incentives to our pool. And they're like, nah, brah, this guy is paying me, so I'm going to vote for their pool. So then the protocol is like, hey, look, I'll pay you. Vote on my pool. So then they vote on their pool, they get bribes, and they're happy. Now the emissions, the Velo emissions, these go to the LPs. These are the guys who are providing liquidity and are like, yes, I'm getting like 100% on some stable coins. I love this. So then they're like, this is cool. I'm earning Velo, and now I actually want to earn more and have more emissions come my way. So they then go to stake and then they vote on their own pool or they go to the ones that are bribing them. Both the Velo stakers and the LPs have synergies. These LPs are now helping the traders because there is more liquidity there, so they get lower slippage. The LPs are also like, bruh, we're going to help your protocol out because we're giving you liquidity, which is what they want, and they don't have to harm their token in doing it. So it's a win-win for everyone. And like I mentioned to you guys, this is similar to Solidly. The LP emissions actually go down over time. So it will start at 15 million Velo tokens as an emission, 3.75% of the initial supply, which is 400 million, and it will decay at 1% per week. So every single week it will go from, so if it's 15 million this week, well then next week it's going to be 14,850,000. And then so on. So it decreases 1% every single week, which you'll have a supply schedule that looks like this, where it's steadily increasing, and then you have the LP emissions going down. Now, to reduce dilution, they will have the rebases. This is for the people who stake their Velo early. Because if you remember, if you're emitting these different tokens, you are actually diluting the original shareholders. In order to protect against this, this is where they have the different rebases, and it makes up for that inflation. Now, what's also really cool about Velodrome is that the tokens must be whitelisted. So in order for the token to actually be listed as a pair, it must be approved through the DAO. So this prevents some like random token just coming out of anywhere, just going on to Velodrome, listing a pool, and taking all the liquidity incentives. This actually allows for a more even distribution, and it protects against something like that. Look, remember, this is not without risk. This is a flywheel type protocol. So just like it can go up, it can do the opposite on the way down. This is why you're seeing a lot of the tokens on Optimism going up in price. People are buying the different tokens to provide liquidity and chase the different incentives on Velodrome, which they are then taking the Velo token, they're staking the Velo token, or they could be LPing it. There are many different options for them to do, but typically what happens is they take it, they stake it, and then they vote and they keep that flywheel going. However, if people stop locking their Velo, or Daddy Bitcoin or the rest of the crypto market just uber tanks, well then who knows? Time will tell. We'll see what happens if Velo can hold up against that. But for the most part, the reason why most people are buying a lot of the Optimism tokens is to provide liquidity on Velodrome. That's not the only reason why, but it's definitely a clear sign that it is incentivizing people to buy the token, provide liquidity on Velodrome, and earn rewards. You could tell by the TVL of Velodrome. Its TVL is actually over 100 million now, and the Optimism TVL is steadily climbing. It's at $500 million. Now there's one other thing to note about the prices of other tokens. When they are inflated like this causes other people to take profits. Now when other people are taking profits, this causes other people to sell, which then causes Freddie to sell, which then causes Jeff to sell, and people start selling. And the same goes for the Velo token as well. As long as people are continually locking their rewards, this is a good thing. But eventually, if people look to take profits, then you will start to see price action that reflects that. Now, even though this is a solidly fork, there are a couple of things that are different. The main ones in particular have to do with the whitelisting process as well as with the tokenomics. And of course, the team. When Andre launched solidly, he basically was like, okay, it's done. And then just like, that was it. Whereas the Velodrome team is actually actively developing it and answering the community's questions and concerns and addressing that properly, which is a good thing. So in summary, the incentive to get the Velo token is so you can earn more Velo rewards. Now to buy the other protocol tokens is so you can chase after the other yields from Velodrome. And if you're staking your Velo tokens, you actually get a mix of different rewards. You get the fees from LPs, you get the fees from rebase, aka staking rewards, and you also get the fees from bribes. Time will tell. We'll see what happens if this solution is actually a better model than Curve, but so far Curve has stood the test of time. Velodrome actually has a couple of different twists into it that could potentially make it perform better than Curve. Of course, time will tell. We'll see what happens. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, this is not financial advice, not a financial advisor, and you guys should definitely do more research before you ape into anything. Proverbs chapter 12, verses 4. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a disgraceful wife is like decay in his bones. All them wives, be good, man. Don't be that decay in bones. Same thing with you husbands, if you guys are husbands out there. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like it, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.